official Labour Party Twitter account posted this yesterday. It said, "Do you think adults convicted of sexually assaulting children should go to prison? Rishi Sunak doesn't." A very personal attack on Rishi Sunak. Was it in poor taste? Should they have had it taken down? Are the Tories stoking the culture wars to garner approval? So have Labour and Conservatives entered a new era of gutter politics? Joining me to unpick all of this is the editor of CapX, John Ashmore. Thanks for joining us. Are we heading to a new place where it's just effectively street brawling on the internet?
I think it's always tempting to think that you or I live in a uniquely down low and dirty era of politics, but I don't really think so. I think there was a lot of kind of pearl clutching about this advert. I mean, there are various problems with it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. No one really imagines that Rishi Sunak approves of not sending child sex offenders to jail. It's a kind of a trope of political advertising that if something's bad's happening on the government's watch, you kind of pin it on the Prime Minister. In terms of tactics, what's going on is quite obvious. I think Rishi Sunak is the Conservatives' biggest strength. His personal ratings are much better than the party's ratings. So Labour are just kind of trying to tear strips off him, weaken his image and, create political advantage doing that. I don't think it's any worse than a lot of what we've seen before. You might remember the whole Ed Miliband stabbing his brother in the back thing when Michael Fallon did an editorial about it, or, you had the Demon Eyes poster back in the 1990s. It's a rough and tumble sort of arena anyway. I don't really see this as being particularly worse than any of what's gone before, to be honest.
Is there a whiff of hypocrisy to add into this, given that Keir Starmer speaks of kinder politics? I mean, every single time there's someone, a new Prime Minister or a new leader of the opposition, someone says that, we don't want all of that fighting in the Commons, and it always reverts back to it. So we know that cycle goes round. But if you do spend all of your time pretending that you are the be nicer politician, and you are so upset when Boris Johnson implies something about your past legal history with Jimmy Savile, to then do this does seem a bit rum.
Perhaps, although I don't think Keir Starmer's brand has ever been in the same way as Jeremy Corbyn's was like kinder, gentler politics. I think Keir Starmer's brand has always been a more kind of straightforward, I'm a guy who can wear a suit normally and isn't ashamed of the British flag. That's kind of his brand. But yeah, I mean, you could say there's a little bit of hypocrisy, but I don't really feel that Keir Starmer's ever pretended to be this kind of moral paragon in the way that Jeremy Corbyn, for example, did. There might be a problem in the sense that, it's, how can I put it? It sort of undermines his authority to a degree to put out something that just seems a bit silly. But I think that's more of an issue than it being kind of offensive or immoral in some way. It's just that the advert might not make a lot of sense to people.